Hey y'all, hey, it's JJ Conway. Welcome to Building Wealth Together, where our goal is to help you walk in abundance and leave a legacy. It's Juice with JJ. This is where I keep you informed about scams, financial controversies, and money shenanigans so you can keep your cash flow out of their pockets and funding your dreams. Let's get into it. So you've got some student loans to pay off, huh? You're all excited about the new program? Well, let me tell you about some student loan scams that are coming. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of financial planners are not yet convinced that this in and of itself is not another scam, a political scam designed to encourage you to think that something's going to happen that isn't, okay? But before we get into the scam part of it, let me just talk a little bit about what this college loan forgiveness is. Now, there's a lot of college loan forgiveness things going on out there right now. If you go out to studentaid.gov, you'll see that there have been some lawsuits and some places that have lost their accreditation, and that impacts whether or not you owe back the student loans that you took from those institutions, okay? But this program that was announced by President Biden back in August, so a couple weeks ago, is basically saying that the Department of Education is going to give you up to $10,000 in debt relief. And if you have a Pell Grant, $20,000 in debt relief, which, Pell Grant is for the lowest of the low income. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense, right? There are certain income requirements. I think it's 125,000 for an individual and double that for households, right? But the bottom line about this program, even for some of those of you who have received notifications, because I heard that on somebody else's podcast, that somebody called in and said, I got an email that said my student loan was approved to be forgiven. All of it's going to be forgiven because I guess it was under those limits that we talked about. All their student loan is going to be forgiven and they should have that taken care of by the end of the year. And other people are talking about how they're going to sign up and get money back even though they just paid off their loans. And there's a lot of rigmarole floating around about this college loan plan, but the dust has not yet settled. In fact, I subscribed to studentaid.gov, and there's a lot of neat things that the government is doing to help people who are really feeling the weight of these student loans that they shouldn't, the government should not have allowed to be in place in the first place. And so, I kind of go back and forth on that. Anybody who's listened to me for any amount of time, you know that I get irritated about people who get their loans paid off for them when others of us either worked hard to get through college or worked hard to pay off our loans or put up with nonsense to go to and keep a scholarship, like those of us who went to the Air Force Academy. And some people experience what they experience, but it was a free degree. So I mean, it wasn't free because they certainly did take their pound of flesh, didn't they? But anyway, I have a little bit of an issue with a lot of all of that. But when it comes to this federal program, I don't know that I have a lot of moral or other issue with it. I just don't want people to think, "Oh, goody, Uncle Sam is going to take care of me." All right. So let's look at the historic average. I know that right now, because of the whole COVID situation and all the accommodations that have been made, the government is paying off more of the student loans than have ever been approved. But traditionally, it's been a 1% deal. Okay, so for everybody who meets the requirements, teaches at the Title I school for 10 years, serves in nursing in a particular qualified hospital for 10 years, you think you're going to get your stuff paid off, you submit the application, you get nothing. That's what happens to 99% of the people who have applied for loan forgiveness, who met all the requirements. All right. Now, there is currently has to be applied for by October 31st, I believe. There is a public service loan forgiveness, and you have to apply by October 31st to allow you to have a better chance of getting something paid off. So you can go out to studentaid.gov. That's the federal student aid website. They will walk you through that. I had a client
I had a client call me the other day and we walked through some options and they're like, well, I need to get this and I need to get that. And they were blocked at every turn because they needed to get this paperwork signed. They needed to get that paperwork signed. They didn't know who to talk to about this and who to talk to about that. And so we did all of that brainstorming. And at the end of the day, I said, look, you're the only person that cares about your future here. You got to take action and make it easy for other people to help you. So if they need to verify your time that you worked at that company, you print out that verification. You go to your HR, you print out that verification, you put it in that folder, you get you some of those little stickies from the office store that say sign here, look here. Like you do it up and you make it easy for them to say yes because a whole lot of people are applying and doing this and that and the other, and they're being told no. But there's a window where more people than ever are getting yes, and I want you to get that yes, all right? And so if sorry, I know I'm not going to have time to edit out the ums and ahs, and I'm trying to be a better public speaker. You know, when I was training with Les Brown, and I'm going to be training with him again. When I was training with Les Brown, he would charge us $10 for every and ah. You think I'd be better now, but see, I don't have to pay you for every and ah. Wait, don't y'all start that up. Oh, maybe we should have an and ah jar, right? Okay, maybe we'll donate the money to charity. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to count the ums and ahs for me. All right. Anyway, I don't want anybody to miss out on any money. I don't want anybody to miss on anything that's going. The way I feel about it, let me tell you something. The way I feel about it, too many poor people in this country are subsidizing middle class people going to college, sending their kids to college. And you say, well, how's that? Well, it's through the lottery and it's through a lot of these programs. You know, we get these tax programs, these tax credits, we get all these other things. And the way it's portrayed in the media, I promise I'm not going to go on a rant because I'm about halfway through today's podcast and I've got to talk about these scams. People make it sound like all the upper middle class and all the wealthy people are subsidized all the poor people. But see what the upper middle class and what the wealthiest people have, they have all the tax breaks, they have all the loopholes, they have all these other processes in place. And I ain't mad at them. When I get there, I'm going to use those loopholes too. As long as they're legal, I'm using them because they're legal. Right? So hey, ain't mad at don't hate the player, hate the game. Isn't that what the phrase says, right? But the thing is, I feel like too many poor people are subsidizing the wealthy doing what they need to do, subsidizing the middle class doing what they need to do, subsidizing upper middle class doing what they need to do. I want you to get all your stuff. But what I don't want you to do is count on Uncle Sam to give you what you're supposed to get. Give you what they dangle in front of you, like they always dangle in front of every election, and then when the dust settles, you don't get what you're supposed to get. And I think about my time in a single as a single mom in the military. I did not. I had a break in the middle there. I was married. I got married right after I came in, had a baby, then I got divorced, and then right before I left, I got married again, had a surprise baby, and so I had that gap in the middle where I was single. And all these commanders and all these bases that I went to, because I went to quite a few, moved like every 2 years, right? All these bases I went to, they always said they had these programs, all these programs for single moms. They're going to help subsidize your daycare at night when we have exercises, subsidize the fact that you need more daycare than everybody else because the federal rule was 10 hours, but in order for you to get to work on time and leave work on time, you couldn't do a 10-hour daycare. Like they were going to have overnight daycare for people who were working, shift work or working the exercises or when you were going TDY, they were going to have all these accommodations for you. They didn't have none of that stuff. None of that stuff. They would hand me a list of people and say, see, we have this beautiful program. And then by the time I would call everybody on this list, 4 or 5 page list, 10 or so people per person or per page. By the time I'd call everybody on this list, I would find out that the commander may have a list. Oh, sure, they have a list. But because the base is not funded to subsidize, oh, yeah, I'm not keeping your kid overnight because ain't nobody paying me what I need to be paid, they agreed to pay me. And so the same thing where there was a state that I lived in that had a scholarship program. Everybody with a certain grade point is supposed to go to college for free, a state college for free. That's what's supposed to happen. And in that particular state, it was B up, right? So I mean, I think it was like a 3.25 and up, and you got free college, except you didn't because it wasn't always funded. So it's not that I don't want you to get your college goodness, right? If you're going to get college loan forgiveness, I want you to have it. If my taxes have to go to paying for somebody to get some college forgiveness, I want it to go to the people who got the Pell Grants. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to go to the people who went to privatized institutions because girlie wanted to go party at a party school and her parents took out all these loans for her. I don't want that. I didn't go to a party school. Okay, this is not about me. It's not about me. All right? But I don't want you to be beholden to these programs that make these promises and at the end of the day you're still left holding the bag. And this is what I told somebody else who called me up this week. They did a free discovery call with me, which you can do at my Calendly page, calendly.com/JJ Conway. You can sign up for a free discovery call. We can talk about your situation. If this person comes to me and they said, well, what they said, sorry, y'all. I'm trying to hurry up and get this done because I know I'm going to be traveling again. This person come to me and they're like, "Well, I don't think I should bother to pay down these loans because after all, the government's going to pay it off." And I'm like, "Well, first of all, I don't believe that the government's really going to pay it off. I believe that they're going to dangle us in front of people till the election is over, and then something's going to happen." Now, in the case of that other podcast I was listening to, where somebody called in and said, "Yeah, I got an approval email," I'm like, "How'd she get an approval email? They haven't even launched the form yet, right?" But it could be legit. It could be legit because certain people who are already in their system for certain things, they're going to be among the first to get notified. So maybe she didn't have to fill out a form. I don't know. But what I know is what I told this young man was, if you really feel like you don't need to pay those loans back, please, please, please take the money you would use to aggressively pay this loan back, siphon it away into a separate savings account. If indeed the government is going to pay you back, you'll know it by the end of the year. And if they give you the money, you take that money and go shopping and go have fun or go do something else to pay down other debt, whatever your debt snowball is. Go do something like that. But please don't go party with that money right now, thinking that Uncle Sam's got your back. Because the last time I checked, every time people thought Uncle Sam got their back, he had their back all right in jail or in debt for the rest of their life, on public assistance, and never able to climb out for the rest of their life. Let's not be that. Let's be empowered. Let's build wealth together. Okay, wow. I really spent a lot of time going over that overview. What I really wanted to warn you about today is the scam side of it. Okay. Why do I talk about scams? Is this program a scam? No. If it's out there on studentaid.gov and if it eventually has an application form and if people eventually get paid, well, that's not a scam. But what is a scam are the phone calls you're getting right now about, "Hey, we're ready to process. You've been approved." Look, I'm getting these phone calls. And I don't even have student loans. Never had student loans. I never took student loans. I went to the Air Force Academy, which was a free school. And the whole reason I chose the Air Force Academy instead of going to business school at Syracuse is because business school at Syracuse only gave me a 1-year scholarship and the Air Force Academy gave me a 4-year. I know that breaks your heart that I'm not more patriotic than that, but that's the real reason I chose the Air Force Academy. Y'all, I wasn't trying to go into no Air Force after going to 4 different high schools. Just wasn't gonna do it. But when they dangled free education in front of me, ooh, I went for that one. I was not experienced enough to know how devastating college loans were. I just knew I didn't know how I was gonna pay for college, and here you got a college where everything was paid for. But they're calling me, y'all. They're calling me and they're sending me the emails. And I'm telling you, if I had the account, it would look so good. It would look so good and so enticing, and I would probably be encouraged to click the link or call them back. I want to tell you right now, if you are not in a federal college loan program, they are not forgiving your loan through this program. It is only for people with federally backed loans. Okay. If you are working through another institution and the email's coming from that institution, or the text is coming from that institution, or the phone call's coming from that institution, do not respond to it. Call the institution directly using the numbers on your statements, using the address on your statements, the website on your statements, the email on your statements, and do your login that way, totally separate from whatever you just got in the email, totally separate from the number in the voicemail, totally separate from whatever link was in that text. Okay? Because that's how the scammers work. They make it sound real. But it's all a ploy designed to get your contact information, get your banking information, get you all excited and emotional so you're not looking at it squarely to see that this is a scam. All right. So if you want to check something, go out to studentaid.gov and follow those instructions. If you think that your private organization has something of value for you, then go ahead and contact them directly. But please, sir, please, ma'am, watch out for these college loan forgiveness scams. I'm JJ Conway. Thanks for listening. Y'all take care and be blessed.
Love the podcast? Be sure to like, subscribe, and forward to 3 friends. You can ask a question or take a life-changing class at buildingwealthtogether.com. Now, go walk in abundance and leave a legacy.